Hello, this is Chris from QuadShot with the first in a series of videos on OpenTickets Enterprise Edition and some of the more advanced features that you will find within this product. During the course of these videos, we'll highlight a number of the extensions and show just what their capabilities are and how they can help you in more complex situations that you may encounter. On this first screen, you'll see we're looking at all the plugins. We have WooCommerce and the base OpenTickets Community Edition installed, and all of the currently available optional extensions which make up the Enterprise Edition. If any new extensions are written, you would of course receive that automatically when it's released. In this particular test site, I've set up a number of ticket products that we can use, and if I go to the venue, there is a single venue which has multiple event areas. We've got one, a performance hall that allows us to sell general admission tickets, the same hall but this time allowing us to sell multi-price tickets, GAMP, and two seating charts, one for the small auditorium and one for the large. In previous tutorials, I've showed you the small auditorium, which was actually quite simple in its design. In this particular video, I'm going to show you some of the tools we have available to assist you when we're dealing with more complex seating charts, and that's true for the large auditorium. So let's open that one up straight away. And having done that, let's switch to distraction-free mode, and let's move the chart up a bit so that we can see all of the seats. Now, in preparation for this demonstration, I have created all of these seats, but as yet have not named them or set any prices. You can see there are a number of challenges we face on this chart that we didn't face on the more simple chart. For a start, the first row, row A, starts at 21 and 22, not 1 or 2. The second thing is that all of the seats to the left-hand side of the center aisle are odd numbered, whilst those to the right-hand side are even numbered. The row naming pattern here misses out row I, so we go straight from H to J. And we have 3 different types of seats, each of which requires its own ticket. So during the course of this video, that's what I'm going to show you. Now, if we pick one of the seats, you can see that the capacity has been set to 1, and the fill transparency has been set to 0.4. What we're first of all going to do is we're going to name and label the blue seats, starting with those on the left hand side. And because row A is unique in that it doesn't start with a number 1, I'm going to have special naming just for that one row. It's very easy to do. I select the Mass Selection Marquee tool, and I select all the seats currently in row A. I then, down here in the properties box, select pattern, and I'm going to give these seats a prefix of blue seats. And next to the pound sign here in square brackets, I'm going to designate that it's going to start at row 21, and that each seat number is going to be incremented by 2 to maintain odd numbered seat numbering. Having done that, I simply click OK. I draw my line in the direction of A through Z, and I draw my line from right to left in the direction of lowest to highest seat numbers. Having done that, if I go to my pointer tool and select the first seat, you can see that it has correctly given it blue seats A21 as its name. Having done that, I now need to name and label the seats that are in rows B through H. And again, simply I select the mass selection tool and I use it to select all of those seats. Again, click on pattern. Again, I will give it the prefix blue seats. And this time, the first seat row is going to start at B, not A, so I put B in my square bracket there. And in the seat numbering, it's going to start at seat number 1 and it's going to be incremented by 2. I will say OK for that. And again, draw my lines A through Z and low to high. So if I was to pick this seat, you can see it's H1. You can see if I pick that one, it's F41. That's done correctly. The final thing I need to do with the blue seats on the left is to name the last 2 rows J and K. Again, using my mass selection tool, I select those 2 rows. Click on pattern. Again, blue seats. And this time we're going to start from row J, and the seat numbering is going to be from 1, increment by 2 each time we go up. I will say OK. Again, my A through Z and my low to high numbers. So again, let's pick this seat, and it correctly identifies it as blue seats K39. Having done the seats on the left-hand side of the aisle, now let's turn our attention to those on the right. And again, we need to do row A first because it doesn't begin like all of the others. So if I select row A, again, pattern, blue seats, and this is going to start at seat number 22, and it's going to increment it by 2 to maintain even numbered seating. I'll say OK. Draw a line from A through Z and lowest to highest, which this time goes in the opposite direction. And so let's have a quick look. Let's check there, and it's correctly labeled it as blue seats A24. Next, we need to name and label the blue seats in rows B through H. So let's select the mass selection marquee tool and identify those seats. Again, clicking on pattern, blue seats, and this is going to be starting at row B, and it's going to be from 2 and increment by 2. We'll say OK. We'll draw the A through Z line and the low through high line. So if we pick this seat at the end of G, you can see it's correctly identified as G42. Okay, we need to do the final 2 rows in that blue section. And for the pattern, blue seats, and this is going to be starting at row J, and it's going to be from 2 and increment by 2. We'll say OK. We'll draw our A through Z line and our lowest through highest line. And that way, if we select this one, you can see it's correctly identified as blue seats K4. Now we need to do the green seats. So let's do the ones on the left-hand side first. Let's, with a mass marquee selection tool, let's identify that complete block of seats. Okay, so what are we going to name these? And let's call these green seats. And we are going to start at row L. And they're going to start numbering 1 and increment by 2 to keep them odd for those on the left-hand side. And we will there, and low to high there. And so if we pick this one, that should be correctly identified as P21. Having done that one, let's now do those on the other side. And make them green seats. And again, we start from row L. And in this case, we're starting at 2 and incrementing by 2. And if I click OK here, we draw our A through Z, and so let's pick, and that correctly identifies it as O24. Now we'll do the final ones, which are the brown seats. So let's just simply select the whole of this block, go for pattern, and let's make these brown seats. And we are going to start from Q, and we are going to go from 1 and increment by 2. Okay, so if we select this one, it correctly comes up as T27. And let's do the final block. Select them all, go to pattern, insert the text brown seats. And again, the row numbering starts from Q, and we are going to go from 2 and increment by 2. And OK, and we'll do this there, and from low to high there. So let's pick, and that correctly identifies as Q6. So all of the seats have now been correctly named according to the complicated pattern that we had available, so that you can see that the tools that our seating extension has available built within it to allow you to automate the naming of the seats and is powerful enough and easy enough to use on a chart like this that does present a number of challenges. The next thing we're going to need to do is to price the seats. And we're going to price them with the brown seats at $25, the green seats at $35, and the blue seats at $45. Now the first thing we're going to do is to switch back from distraction-free mode so that we can add a default price structure, and the default price structure will be the one that we will use to price the brown seats. So down here in the right hand side, I'm going to add a price structure, and I'm going to use a naming convention for the structure using the initial letters of the event area. So this is going to be LA001. If I see that in later on when I'm working on the site, that'll help remind me that it refers to the large auditorium. So having set up that price structure, we now need to add the ticket, and this is going to be the default for the brown seats, and it's going to be $25. So let's pick that $25 ticket. That's set. I'm now going to update that. So we now have the brown seats set at $25. I now need to be able to override that pricing for the green seats and for the blue seats. So in order to do this and make the seats available, I'm going to switch back to distraction-free mode, and I'm going to mass select all of the green seats. So if I go all the way across and down, that has selected all of the green seats. I'm now going to go to my customize pricing. Yes, I want to customize that, and it's going to be overriding the default pricing that we currently have in LA001. I'm going to remove that, and as I said, the green seats are going to be $35. Having selected that, let's close that, and again with the mass marquee selection tool selected, let's select all of the blue seats. With the blue seats selected, again go to customize pricing. Yes, I do want to customize that, and this time it's going to be $45. We will again exit that, switch back from distraction-free mode, and click update. So all of that pricing should now be set in. Now, in order to demonstrate that this has worked okay, let's set up a dummy event. And let's go to add event, and let's make it the Tempest. And let's add a new event date. So clicking here, let's make this May the 7th. And let's have the start time at 7 p.m. and the end time at 11 p.m. We've got the date, the 7th of May, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Let's add that to the calendar. And as we go down, let's set the status to be published. Let's set the venue to be my theater. The event area is going to be the large auditorium. And the pricing structure to be LA001. Having done that, let's now set the featured image for that event. And here is our image for the Tempest. That's all set in. So now if we go to publish that event, now let's have a look and visit the site, And if we go to the month of May, there is the Tempest. If we click on that, it brings up the event together with the seating chart. So for example, if I hover the cursor over the blue seats, you can see that it's correctly identifying their price and the seat name and the price at $45. If we move to the green seats, you can see the price for those is $35. And if we go to the brown seats, you can see that they have picked up the default price of $25. And so there you have it. That is one way in which the built-in tools for automation in both naming seats and setting the pricing can help you even when your requirements are perhaps more complex than normal.